This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 16th day of February in the year 2021. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. The Guyana Defense Force, Coast Guard and supporting agencies were in the process all day today of bringing the vessel that was discovered yesterday in Guyana's waters with dead bodies to shore. A photograph seen by news source of the small vessel out in the Atlantic showed what appeared to be a number of bodies and body parts in the bottom of the vessel, while another body could be seen clinging to an upper rafter on the vessel. The vessel is green in color, and there is no name or identifiable markings. There is also no engine attached to the vessel. Sources close to the investigating teams have told news source that it appears as though the persons might have been dead for a while, and the bodies are now in an advanced state of decomposition. There are signs of a brownish substance suspected to be blood mixed in with water. In a statement, the Maritime Administration indicated that the vessel was spotted drifting at sea at approximately 112 nautical miles from Georgetown. The vessel was spotted yesterday by an outgoing vessel, which immediately alerted the maritime authorities, and an emergency plan was activated to get the vessel to shore. The authorities were hoping to get the vessel to shore late last night, but its location and other factors forced a delay in the efforts. The bodies in the vessel and the vessel itself are still to be identified. More news coming up in just a moment.
GTT is celebrating our 30th year of proudly serving Guyana. You're invited to join the celebration with 30% off your internet for 3 months when you sign up for Blaze high-speed internet powered by Plume Home Pass. Promotion runs from January 29th to February 28th. Take advantage of this offer today using promotional code BLAZE330. Visit gtt.gy Blaze Discount 17 for full details. GTT and you, together we rise.
You taste the cheese, you hear the crunch. Grab a zoomers and zoom into fun. And with the first taste, you feel like you don't want it done. Blast off to a whole new place with every single bite. The cheesy goodness bring your taste buds alive. So let's just zoom into fun with this wheel-shaped light. Zoomers, zoomers, zoom into fun.
This is Annie Bina. She's a clothing designer. She also likes to hang out with her friends. However, a life-changing event is about to occur. The mosquito that bit Annie Bina is infected with a tiny worm that causes lymphatic filariasis, also known as filaria. But what is filaria? Filaria is a disease that affects a person's lymphatic system, causing legs, arms, breasts, or scrotum to swell and eventually remain in a swollen state that cannot go back to normal. Filaria shows no symptoms during the early years. Untreatable chronic symptoms can appear as late as 20 years after infection. Since there are no symptoms in the beginning, most infected persons do not know they're infected, like Annie Bina. When the symptoms begin to appear, nothing will be able to make them disappear. Are you sure that you've not been infected like Annie Bina? What can you do then, since you see no symptoms? Take your pills. Prevention is the best cure. A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
Dare to slay. Are you prepared to represent all Guyanese women on the Miss World stage? Entrepreneurs, social media influencers, beauties with degrees, athletes, humanitarians, and performing artists. Top models with charisma, and oh yes, if you so please, friends or frenemies who are as real as can be. Dare to slay, then apply without fear, making 2021 your boldest, bravest year. Win a car, $500,000 in cash, and loads of other prizes fitting for a queen. It's Miss World time. Are you ready to slay? Victoria Regia Season 1 begins. Apply today. www.missworldguyana.com.
Mom, what are you doing with GPL on your list?
Child, you forgot I have to pay GPL?
You got time with GPL?
I have to keep these lights on. The customers who think in that manner and refuse to honor their obligation to GPL are obviously not playing their part in ensuring quality service delivery. So, I will continue to pay my GPL bill on time every time.
I recognize the value of your point, Mom. You were right.
This is Annie Bina. She's a clothing designer. She also likes to hang out with her friends. However, a life-changing event is about to occur. The mosquito that bit Annie Bina is infected with a tiny worm that causes lymphatic filariasis, also known as filaria. But what is filaria? Filaria is a disease that affects a person's lymphatic system, causing legs, arms, breasts, or scrotum to swell and eventually remain in a swollen state that cannot go back to normal. Filaria shows no symptoms during the early years. Untreatable chronic symptoms can appear as late as 20 years after infection. Since there are no symptoms in the beginning, most infected persons do not know they're infected, like Annie Bina. When the symptoms begin to appear, nothing will be able to make them disappear. Are you sure that you've not been infected like Annie Bina? What can you do then, since you see no symptoms? Take your pills. Prevention is the best cure. A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
GBTI is your Guyanese bank, a bank that understands every customer's unique needs, opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. At GBTI, we see you for you. Whether you're buying a new home or car, planning your next vacation or retirement, saving for your child's future, or whether you're ready to take that bold step of investing in your dream business idea, we are with you every step of the way. We hear your stories and watch you focus on your dreams as we share your aspirations. We are more than just banking. We are a family. We are part of your community. Our commitment extends way beyond the walls of our branches and is demonstrated every day in the opportunities we provide to our individual and business customers. The support, time, and commitment we give back to communities across Guyana to help improve the lives of our Guyanese families. Because we see Guyana through your eyes.
Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guyoil Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guyoil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Welcome back. Opposition leader Joe Harmon today accused the PP Civic government of sidelining and ignoring the needs of public servants in the national budget. There has been no formal announcement of any planned increases for public servants. Vice President Bharat Jagdeo, however, has been insisting that the budget contains provisions for salary increases. But there was no such announcement during the presentation of the budget last Friday by the minister responsible for finance. At a press conference today, opposition leader Joe Harmon said public servants appear not to be finding favor with the new government.
And it doesn't matter what explanation Bharat Jagdeo seeks to give. It has failed to address that issue. And he can shout from the top of Mount Raima to the quarantine coast. Public servants will not believe him because we have his experience. 2020, they gave nothing. Till at the end of the year, they share out a little something there. 2021, nothing is there in the budget. And he's saying now, oh, there's a line item there from which it will come. You have to tell the public service up front what you're going to give to them. So this excuse is not going to work. We've seen through your sham, Bharat. We've seen through it. The public servants have seen it. The frontline workers in the healthcare system have seen it. And they're upset.
According to the opposition leader, public servants were expecting an announcement of salary increases in the budget. He said the government has ignored the plight of many public servants who have been forced to work throughout the COVID-19 pandemic.
So don't try and bring this fancy talk about the money is there and we will pay. Come out and say what you're going to pay. 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, 20, 25%. Come out and say it. I am daring you to do that. But don't try to hodgepodge things and say it is hidden there. We are not going to believe you. Public servants will not believe you, and the people and their families will not believe you.
Public servants did not receive increases in salaries in last year's budget either. However, some categories of public servants were given a one-off $25,000 bonus in December. The opposition leader said during the coalition's tenure in office, public servants were guaranteed salary increases. Well, 4 prisoners who were all behind bars for serious offenses have escaped from the Mazaruni prison in Essequibo, triggering a manhunt by the police and prison authorities. The escapees have been identified as 25-year-old Imran Ramsewak, who was in jail facing time for murder, 26-year-old Samuel Govaya, who was remanded a year ago on a manslaughter charge, 22-year-old Ryan Jones, known as Rayon Jones, who was sentenced to 28 years in jail 2 years ago for manslaughter, and 44-year-old Kenrick Light, who was sentenced to death for a murder conviction. The 4 men were discovered missing this morning, and an alarm was immediately raised at the prison. In a statement, the Guyana Police Force issued an appeal to members of the public, relatives, and friends of the escapees to contact the police with any information about their whereabouts. The police force is also calling on the escapees themselves to surrender and avoid any confrontation with law enforcement, since that could result in the use of force. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of the 4 escapees is being asked to contact the nearest police station or call telephone numbers 455-2238 or 225-2700. A police officer who was stationed in the village of Maruka in the Northwest District, Region 1, has been placed under close arrest following an allegation of rape that was leveled against him. The Guyana Police Force today confirmed that it is probing the allegation against one of its own. The young police officer reportedly went out partying with a group of villagers on Valentine's night. He allegedly accompanied one of the young women he was partying with to her home, and they were both in an intoxicated state. The young woman reportedly told police investigators that she passed out on her veranda and woke up to find the policeman engaging in a sexual act with her. She raised an alarm, and the policeman who left the scene was later taken into custody and placed under close arrest. Just on Monday, the Guyana Defense Force announced that it was conducting investigations into allegations of rape against 5 of its ranks that were made by a teenage girl in another part of Region 1. Both the Guyana Defense Force and the Guyana Police Force have been increasing their presence in the bordering regions to guard against any threat from neighboring Venezuela. Well, months after Guyana and Suriname inked a memorandum of understanding for the construction of a high-span bridge over the Quarantine River linking the 2 countries, more than 30 companies have expressed interest to provide consultancy services for the feasibility study for the bridge. Minister of Public Works Juan Egil today said it is clear that the world is interested in Guyana and its development. He said people want to participate, invest, and have a stake in the country, and it's good for both Guyana and Suriname. Once constructed, the bridge will serve as a physical link between Guyana and Suriname. Currently, there's a ferry service which facilitates trade and travel for citizens of both countries. That arrangement has been in place since 1998. Both Ministers Egil and his Surinamese counterpart, Dr. Riyad Nur Muhammad, visited the proposed site for the bridge late last year, where they planted flags of the 2 countries. Companies from the Netherlands, Turkey, the US, Korea, Brazil, Mexico, Canada, the Philippines, India, Suriname, Spain, Trinidad and Tobago, and Lebanon are among those which have all expressed interest to conduct the feasibility study of the new Suriname-Guyana bridge. Well, let's tell you now that the U.S. Government Center for Disease Control has flagged Guyana as having a high level of COVID-19, placing the country on its level 4 ranking and warning U.S. citizens and residents against traveling to Guyana. Level 4 is the highest level warning on the CDC's warning system for COVID-19. In its statement, the CDC said traveling to Guyana increases the chances of getting and spreading COVID-19, and its recommendation is that persons do not travel at this time to Guyana. It said all travel to Guyana should be avoided. But the CDC is also recommending that if persons must travel to Guyana, they should get tested before their trip. Since Guyana reopened its airports last October, and even during repatriation flights before that reopening, all travelers to Guyana have been required to present a negative COVID-19 test before their trip. The regulation remains in place. The U.S. government only recently started to require travelers to the U.S. to present a negative COVID-19 test before boarding U.S.-bound flights. The U.S. CDC is also encouraging persons traveling to the U.S. to self-isolate for at least 7 days after their arrival. Guyana currently has more than 600 active cases of COVID-19 in the country. Since the first case was recorded in March of last year, Guyana has recorded just over 8,000 cases, with 188 deaths. The U.S. remains the country that has recorded the most coronavirus cases and deaths since the pandemic started, with over 27 million cases recorded and over 480,000 deaths. Regional carrier Caribbean Airlines is reeling from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the travel industry. In a statement today, Caribbean Airlines announced that its before-tax earnings has decreased by more than $109 million US. Over the past few years, the airline was seeing increased earnings as it launched an aggressive marketing strategy. But the COVID-19 pandemic changed all of that. The airline's chief executive officer Garvin Madeira explained that the first 2 months of 2020 continued the company's upward trajectory of the previous 3 years, and the next phase of its strategic plan was commencing strongly. He noted that, however, COVID-19 took a sledgehammer to the international travel and tourism industry for the past 10 months, and the company's financial results for last year fully reflects the new reality. The CEO said in spite of the pandemic and reduced flying, the carrier managed to add new destinations to its network and also expanded its cargo offerings to include charter services. Caribbean Airlines said at times during 2020, passenger flights were 90% lower than the same period for the previous year as a result of international border closures. Passenger numbers for 2020 fell substantially by 71% for the airline. The chairman of Caribbean Airlines, Ronnie Mohammed, said 2020 was the worst year on record for the global travel industry, and specifically for aviation. He said regrettably Caribbean Airlines was hit hard, but noted that from a promising period of progress and profitability, the company has found itself severely negatively impacted.
This is Annie Bina. She's a clothing designer. She also likes to hang out with her friends. However, a life-changing event is about to occur. The mosquito that bit Annie Bina is infected with a tiny worm that causes lymphatic filariasis, also known as filaria. But what is filaria? Filaria is a disease that affects a person's lymphatic system, causing legs, arms, breast, or scrotum to swell and eventually remain in a swollen state that cannot go back to normal. Filaria shows no symptoms during the early years. Untreatable chronic symptoms can appear as late as 20 years after infection. Since there are no symptoms in the beginning, most infected persons do not know they're infected, like Annie Bina. When the symptoms begin to appear, nothing will be able to make them disappear. Are you sure that you've not been infected like Annie Bina? What can you do then, since you see no symptoms? Take your pills. Prevention is the best cure. A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
Due to the impacts of the global pandemic, COVID-19 across our nation, essential organizations like us have chosen to adopt innovative approaches to meet the emerging needs of our customers while protecting our employees. Here are some quick tips to make managing your GPL bill easier while we practice social distancing. To register for electronic billing, you can use the e-billing tab on your website. To access your bill balance, you can use 4 options: the website live chat at gpl.net, the online inquiry on our website under billing, SMS Freedom by texting your GPL reference number to 624-0400 or 608-8400, or call our call center at 226-2600. A message from the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right, walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
This is Annie Bina. She's a clothing designer. She also likes to hang out with her friends. However, a life-changing event is about to occur. The mosquito that bit Annie Bina is infected with a tiny worm that causes lymphatic filariasis, also known as filaria. But what is filaria? Filaria is a disease that affects a person's lymphatic system, causing legs, arms, breasts, or scrotum to swell and eventually remain in a swollen state that cannot go back to normal. Filaria shows no symptoms during the early years. Untreatable chronic symptoms can appear as late as 20 years after infection. Since there are no symptoms in the beginning, most infected persons do not know they're infected, like Annie Bina. When the symptoms begin to appear, nothing will be able to make them disappear. Are you sure that you've not been infected like Annie Bina? What can you do then, since you see no symptoms? Take your pills. Prevention is the best cure. A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
Across the region right now, 4 persons were killed and 1 is missing after a private helicopter crashed yesterday afternoon in St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Communications Director for the government of the USVI, Richard Motta, confirmed that the identities of the 4 deceased persons will not be released until their families are notified of their deaths. A swimmer told the Virgin Islands Daily News that they saw plumes of black smoke and smelled a chemical odor coming from the hill where the chopper crashed yesterday afternoon. A full investigation is ongoing this evening. The Biden administration in the U.S. says it will start gradually allowing into the U.S. thousands of asylum seekers currently forced to wait in Mexico. It says it will begin next week processing about 25,000 people with active cases. Asylum seekers will first be required to register and pass a COVID-19 test before being allowed in via one of 3 border crossings. The move reverses the much criticized policies of ex-President Donald Trump. The Migrant Protection Protocols program was enacted in 2019, deterring would-be asylum seekers from coming to the U.S. It required migrants entering through the southern border to wait in Mexico, while their cases were being heard by U.S. immigration courts. But on his first day in office since winning last year's election, President Joe Biden suspended the policy. And finally tonight, international news. Scientists have identified another new variant of coronavirus in the UK with some potentially troubling mutations. The variant appears similar to the South African variant, which prompted door-to-door tests in areas where it has been found. Researchers in the UK have found 38 cases so far. It has been seen in other countries, including Denmark, Nigeria, and the US. UK experts are studying it to understand what risk it poses. It is too soon to say if it should be added to the UK's list of variants of concern and whether mass testing for it should happen, since it is under investigation. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.